Radio for Skaro.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 781. I am Stephen at Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
It's welcome to the coldest day of the year here in Edmonton.
The coldest day of the year so far.
So cold. Let's have a look at
1 degree here, 1 degree Celsius, so I'm sure you can't have anything worse than that.
My watch says minus 32 and sunny.
Minus 32.
Isn't that where Fahrenheit and Celsius meet and just go out of hell with
minus
them?
40.
Yeah, minus 40 is where they meet. So, it's cold. Cold, folks. It's a good way to stay inside, away from each other, to help combat the spread. Because, of course, we're still going through a global pandemic.
Yes.
Just so
Twas
you know.
ever thus.
Yeah. Although they're shooting Doctor Who in the Doctor Who magazine, issue 561, which came out this past week. They had a brief thing about John Bishop starting to shoot his scenes, which I find interesting that they have now just started shooting his scenes on Doctor Who, which means that short launch trailer was like the first thing he did, but it was like done probably a couple months ago in relation to when the thing happened. Anyway, he started. Apparently, he went through like auditions and everything like that. Like it wasn't like, "Hey, John Bishop, we want you to be in Doctor Who." Like I don't know how Bradley Walsh came to be in Doctor Who. If he auditioned or they just thought, who would be great, Bradley Walsh, and we should just get him in here. But John Bishop apparently auditioned and everything too. But you would think that with someone with such notoriety as John Bishop, that being someone
Ever well known.
someone who
inimitable John Bishop.
someone who
Iconic even.
who either is
That's only Richard E. Grant.
someone who is either really well known or not known at all, and no in between. I'm mildly surprised that they would have him go through an audition process. But
All I can say to all that is when they were each respectively announced, none of us three,
none.
that's all we can speak for. Knew Billy Piper or Catherine Tate or Freeman Adjaman or...
I didn't know David Tennant or Christopher Eccleston or Matt Smith. None of us knew who Matt Smith was, really.
Yeah.
Capaldi, we knew, obviously, but Jodie Whittaker I didn't.
I
know
know.
Broadchurch had already come and gone.
I sure know. I sure knew who Jodie Whittaker was. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the last two Doctors are the only ones that I've known, and of course I only know about the previous Doctors well after the fact. So
And the biggest unknown of ever, Matt Smith. Yeah.
that was so great, though. I mean, and then we were scrambling, let's find all the stuff he's been in, and you go,
Barely anything.
Party Animals. There's a show called Party Animals. Oh, he was in an episode of like the Ruby of the Smoke or something like that too, wasn't he? And,
well, I guess I had already seen him in Ruby and the Smoke and in Secret Diary of a Call Girl.
Yeah. And that was it.
I remember I watched the Party Animals just to see him, and he didn't do anything. He just kind of sat there. I was like, well, all right, I hope the Doctor does more than that. And he did.
Yeah. Party Animals, I worked at a TV station back in those days, and we aired Party Animals, and I had no idea like who was in it because I never watched anything that we actually aired because they were too cheap to give it to us. I mean, that's why I'm no longer working the station. Because they can't afford to give their employees free stuff, which means they can't afford to pay me. But we had Party Animals, and it came and went. So by the time that it actually Matt Smith was announced, we didn't have Party Animals for me to be able to go and watch. So I've never seen Party Animals. I have seen Doctor Who. I have seen Matt Smith in Doctor Who a few times, but
you don't say.
Yeah.
Were you so distraught that you had to go hug your original film tin or video tin of the TV movie that you liberated from the TV station next door to that TV station?
No, because I only liberated the tape label. Alas,
That's true. Yes.
Yeah. I still regret. That's oddly enough. I was thinking about that earlier this week about how I wished that I had taken the original 1-inch masters, the two 1-inch master tapes that the TV movie sat in the basement of ITV here in Edmonton.
Before anywhere else, which is the beautiful part.
Yep.
Yeah, we're coming up on 25 years of
25 years. Yep. Yeah, had already wrapped production by this point in whatever year
In
it was.
Vancouver.
In 96.
Sounds like we need a celebration in May or something.
I think, you know what? No offense to the TV movie, but I think we've focused a lot. I mean, what else can he do with? I mean, we've had literally every single person on. I think apart from Daphne Ashbrook, oddly enough. We haven't had Eric Roberts either. Well, we've had Philip Sequel. We've had Paul McGann. We've had Eugene So. We'll
just hang out with Jeremy Raddick.
Just Jeremy Raddick, whose course comes to Gallifrey One when Gallifrey One happens. Speaking of which, everyone, Gallifrey One would have been this coming weekend here, coming up. I think I had a pang of like, oh, right, Gallifrey One earlier, and then it sort of like faded away. But now I think things are like, oh, yeah, that would have happened. And maybe I'm getting a little bit of like, oh, stupid pandemic. We can't get together and do things and stuff.
I normally don't get the pangs until Wednesday coming up. Or
well, maybe you do.
I'm flying out.
Well, yeah. But anyway, stay tuned later this week. We're not letting this moment pass by without doing something for Gallifrey One. So stuff will happen. So yeah, as I say, stay tuned to the Twitters and the websites and the podcast feed later this week for a little special something. Also, this episode features the return of Trivia Mr. Fibuli, but with two special guests, Benji and Nick, that being Benji Clifford and Nick Briggs, from the Benji and Nick Show. They are competitors this time around, so they get to answer the same questions that the three of us have probably answered, except they've never heard them, so it's new to them. And let the hilarity.
That's one way to recycle the small assortment of questions.
I know it's like we started the Trivia Mr. Fibuli game show thinking that we would like have games for years, and then like all of a sudden like oh, we've just reached the end of the deck. Well, so much for that. So
never stop the trivia.
No, you can't. So it'll return again, but there might be different trivia elements in it when the game show returns. But today, Nick and Benji square off for the title of who is the most knowledgeable of the two hosts of the Benji and Nick Show. Stay tuned.
Just to briefly go back to Doctor Who magazine, for those who are able to get a physical copy, or maybe I don't know if it's digital as well. You can answer this, I guess.
All right.
There's that faux Target book included with it, which has sample chapters of the newest Target releases, like Witchfinders and Dalek and TV movie and so on.
Well, I don't know nothing about that, but I do know that there's a poster of all the Target titles on them, which is pretty cool. But it looks good on an iPad screen, but it looks even better on a folder screen. I saw Andrew Smith tweet out that he rarely puts posters on his wall and stuff, but the Target novelization was was the one to do.
Target novelizations have a lot of exemptions granted.
They do. Yeah, and for what it's worth, it's in episodic order. You can arrange
as it should be.
As it should be, yeah. Like some people like arrange it like by publication number order and stuff. But then when you get like Power of the Daleks and stuff, and it's like, well, where do we put these? They're at the end, but yeah,
it's cool, but they're still numbered.
Mm-hmm. It's a cool looking poster, actually. I kind of like this on my wall.
The digital subscription thing doesn't have the book.
I don't believe so.
Oh, okay.
Unless it does.
Do they charge you extra like they do for the physical copy because of the book? And you just don't get it, or what?
That, Chris, is a question best left for Marcus Hearn of Doctor Who magazine. I don't know the answer to that. They do interview the writers, but I don't think there's any sample chapters in the digital version of it. So
okay.
No. Yeah. So no. Hey, what happened this week in Doctor Who history? What happened? You may well ask. We're in the midst of stories right now, but the Web Planet premiered on February 13th, 1965, to a billion viewers.
It had a massive number.
Just massive. It was still coasting off that. Dalek, like the rescue was like the highest rated story of all time because people thought, hey, all these Daleks are pretty cool. Let's keep watching this show and maybe there'll be Daleks. Oh, there's just nothing. Just a guy in a rocket ship and he's doing nothing. We'll still watch. Well, this one looks good. There's a bunch of bugs. There's a bunch of bugs flying around. Looks pretty convincing and stuff and well directed. I think we should probably tune in to the tune of like 13 million viewers a week, which is what they did,
television.
folks.
Back in the old days.
Yeah, right. When they only had two.
This is why Dallas was such a big deal.
Because it was
There's nothing else.
Channels.
Exactly. Yes.
Like how
Have you
many
ever watched
channels?
Dallas now? It looks cheap as hell.
Oh, I know. Yeah. How many channels were there in the UK? But when Dallas went out, like in 1980, 81, because it was a big
3
thing
or
over
4
there too.
maybe? 2?
Yeah. Like
Well,
I think,
I remember watching a
ITV's
thing-
ITV's been around for decades and decades.
yeah. Since like yeah,
or at least
watching a
there was
thing
regional
about it.
variants.
yeah.
But when they brought Dallas over, because they were talking about the Tenant regenerating into Tenant, and what a big surprise that was. And so they talked about Dallas and how at the time, unless somebody called you from the States to tell you what happened, you had no clue.
Nope.
There was just no reason for you to know. So they just mailed over the film, and everybody's like, "What's going to happen?"
just like how could we
Channel-
possibly ever know?
Channel 4 apparently launched November 1982.
82, November 82, eh? Yeah.
And now the minute something like let's say WandaVision episode 6 comes out next week, you just have to turn your phone off and hope nobody walks by and tells you something about it.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
And Channel 5, March of 1997.
I don't even know what Channel 5 is.
It's Channel 5.
Yeah.
It's like Channel 4, but one more.
Isn't
it
that
does,
or is Channel 4 the one where the two of them came together to do a channel?
I
think that's Channel 4, but I could be wrong.
Oh boy! Oh yeah, Channel
Come on,
4
Brits,
was like
correct me.
It wasn't Channel 4. Oh, this is fun. Let's just get it really wrong because we're not gonna get it exactly right anyway. So we must just go. So BBC and ITV, and oddly enough, ABC from Australia and ABC from the US ganged up and put together Channel 5. That's how that.
And then they
happened.
created Dave as a little brother.
Dave obviously came out of that.
Dave was owned by the BBC or co-owned by the BBC? Something?
No, Dave owns the BBC. That's how it works.
No, like legit. I think the BBC has a stake in UK TV.
Oh, do they really? They have
Whenever I see something's on Dave, I'm like, is that some guy at the pub? Like, what is
know.
this? It
Why would
always
you
fools
name
me.
it
I
Dave?
never think it's a channel.
No,
Well,
it's just
when I lived in Britain, Dave basically only ever showed repeats of Top Gear and QI.
well, that sounds
was it.
about right.
That's like before they got into like producing Red Dwarf.
It's like it was named in that time when was like Surge or like what was country music television was renamed here in North
CMT, I
America.
believe.
Well, no, I know that it turned into something like Vigor or something, some ridiculous, dumb, testosterone fueled name or something. And I feel like Dave
Spike?
came out like
Spike.
the Spike, and I feel like Dave came out of like the laddish time, like, oh, it's Dave. This is a channel for Dave. Dave likes to watch things and beer and stuff and lots of lasses and all that, and we're in it on Dave because it's a channel for the person, the regular person, for you, Dave. This is for you, and that's what I always thought Dave was like. And I
Probably isn't.
correct me if I'm wrong.
But speaking of Red Dwarf, BritBox said, now remastered Red Dwarfs. And I was like, dare I hit this button?
I know.
Have they filmized everything again? No, they haven't. Okay, it looks like crap, but slightly less crappy. Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by that. I saw that, and I haven't checked them out yet. So
It's the usual. It's just cleaned up a little bit, but it's not filmized or anything, from what I can tell.
Yeah,
I
that was-
oh no, dude! Because remember last time they did that, and they took
Yeah.
all the old ones and tried to improve them and put new special effects. No, just part of the charm of Red Dwarf is the early ones look like crap, and the later ones have got good models that still kind of look like crap but are lovely.
yeah. Because part of the appeal was like OB videotape, and yet really
exactly.
good model footage. Like a
To this
season
day,
6.
I'm a fanatic about that. The new ones
Yeah.
are on high def OB videotape, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, absolutely. That's that one season on film. Thinking, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Well, it wasn't even on film; it was on filmized. So.
Yeah. Well, they shot a single camera too. The season 7, I want to say, of Red Dwarf. But yeah. I hadn't checked that out. I had not checked that out, and I keep wanting to do that. So thank you for the reminder, Warren. Red Dwarf.
No problem.
Seasons 1 through 8.
I went to season 1 because I figured if they're going to screw on with anything, it'll be that, and it was fine.
Oh, good. Yeah.
For what it's worth, UK TV is wholly owned by BBC Studios.
Wow, they own everything. Golly.
So technically, even though UK TV is producing the new Red Dwarf, they're owned by the BBC or BBC Studios.
Right.
So therefore, the BBC is still producing Red Dwarf.
How about that? Look at that. I don't know what that means, but yep, that's a
Well,
thing.
there's one thing
that
I care about. It's the big company behind stuff.
Yep, it's a treat. It's interesting to see where the money's flowing from, basically.
Yeah,
I suppose.
Yeah.
You know. There've been tweet-alongs. There's still been tweet-alongs. Emily Cook is just is like, hey, why not? We're locked down again for the most part. Although the vaccine rollout is going, it's going somewhat well, I think, in the UK, from what I understand.
Not so much here.
Not so much here. We don't really have a vaccine right now, but at least we're doing a better job at mitigating the actual circumstances of the pandemic. These totally miss me. Like Boomtown happened on January 30th. February 6th, Saturday, yesterday, as this episode goes out, was the dinosaurs on a spaceship. On next Sunday, the 14th, is the
Love and Monsters.
Love and Monsters, thank you.
The ultimate Valentine's Doctor Who episode with
Yes.
lovely fellatio joke at the end.
Yes.
Listen, forget about that. There's so much good yellow in it.
There is a yellow in it. You're right.
It's a good song. Mark Warren's great in it. It's a good story. Yeah.
It is good.
Shirley
got a great
Anderson. Shirley Anderson and her Doctor Who debut.
Babu
It's got
Frick
some
herself.
lovely moments.
Yeah. It's good.
Oh, that's right. She does too. Yeah. I just still associate her with Moaning Myrtle from Harry Potter.
Sure. No,
I don't, because I don't watch Harry Potter.
Babu Frick is honestly is almost as good as Baby Yoda in an entirely different way.
Is she Babu Frick?
She is Babu Frick. She not only does the voice of
and movement
and the actual movement too. Yeah, which is really cool. The documentary on Rise of Skywalker,
Which is on Disney Extras, by the way.
Is it? Oh, well, it's also in the Blu-ray, which I bought because I own it. That's the thing, because I own the thing now. I can watch it whenever I want. And I was
Congratulations for owning a mediocre Star Wars.
Well, all right. But the documentary is great, and you can see that Shirley Henderson is there doing the voice and the puppetry for Babu Frick. Iconic character. Babu
The breakout star of Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Well, there's got to be a positive to that film, right? Silver lining, whatever you want
I'm
to
glad
call
you're
it.
on Team Fry here, Chris. And I'm
Yeah, well.
on Team Burgess as well, just to make this fair.
That's right. You always have to pick a side. With Star Wars, you always have to pick a side now.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the lesser, the least of the evils, I
Yeah,
suppose.
you got to like the movie or hate it. That's the way it goes.
I
Only
don't
a
hate
Sith.
it. I just think it's middling, and
right.
they deserve better.
Well, I mean, bear in mind, we're doing a podcast about Doctor Who, and the tradition for Doctor Who fandom is to not like Doctor Who.
Tradition or syndrome?
I think
Take
it's
your pick.
more of a syndrome. I think, yeah. I do like, because I've been listening to Toby Haydock's wonderful podcast series, Happy Times and Places, and the other two ones that he has, and he's been going. It takes a long time to do the individual episodes for the the big deep dives, and he just did episode 2. So of an Unearthly Child, the second ever episode. And he was reading a review of someone's like, oh, this wasn't as good as last week. I think, look at that. Week 2 and already they're going, it's not as good as it used to be. So
Yeah,
here we
that
are.
sounds about right. For
57 years later, and they were still they were doing it in week 2. Week 2 they were doing this.
I was going to say that, but other fandoms do that. But no, other fandoms are worse in other ways. But then we have our sort of cross-section of bad people too. So everything sucks is what I'm trying to say here.
As we've probably talked about before, Star Wars fandom, I think, is the worst.
But
It's
they
certainly up
used to
there.
be, like, maybe I'm just deluding myself, but I don't think they were this crazy before.
I don't think so. But then you see, because Star Wars used to be just this nice, cozy thing that was the kingdom of the average white male, and they would just rule over it and look out across their expanse and
That is
look
true,
upon
yes.
my works, ye mighty, and despair. And,
My works being George Lucas's works and nobody else's.
right, and then they sort of claimed ownership, and then all of a sudden, what? You new people can't like Doctor Who? What are you talking? I mean, Star Wars. What are you talking
Well,
about?
fill in the blank.
Yeah,
do the Star Trek
'cause-
too. Star
yeah.
Trek, that's the most baffling one. It's like a show founded on all the principles these right-wing maniacs despise. And they're like, how can they do this to Star Trek? I'm like, they did in 1966.
Oh.
Pay attention.
Day
And then
one,
shut up.
scene one, line one.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Doctor Who magazine's out, as we mentioned, with a whole focus on the Target, the new Target books coming out. with conversations with Rob Shearman, Mark Gatiss, Joy Wilkinson, of course, have each written new ones to go with the reprints of the other ones. Gary Russell was very pleased to finally have an actual proper paperback version with a Target logo of his novelization for the TV movie. So, like, because
there was a prior BBC Books release of the book,
but that Target logo, you gotta have that Target logo on there to be official.
Well, yeah,
now he is finally. Coming March 19th to Android, iOS, and Steam is The Lonely Assassins, the Doctor Who mobile game featuring the Weeping Angels. They launched the premiere date of March 19th and a trailer. I love that it features Lawrence from Blink. Basically, you're trying to find him because there's a tie-in there, obviously, to Blink, and it's up to you and Osgood to find him. I thought that was quite clever, actually.
It's a great callback for sure.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. So the trailer and the details of the game in the show notes at radiofreeskaro.com. As always, Big Finish still continues to churn out a ton of stuff. They are very busy. They're never not busy. Time War 4, Gallifrey, Time War 4 is coming this month from Big Finish. Unit Nemesis Volume 1, featuring them fighting the Ice Warriors. This was announced in the most recent Doctor Who magazine. Torchwood Gooseberry.
I love that title.
I do
That's
too.
a beautiful title.
Burn Gorman returns with
Is there a term for fear of catching up? Because I have the first time war and I still haven't listened to it, and I'm like, oh, there's 3 other ones I also have to listen to. When am I ever going to do this?
fear?
Even though it's academic, and really, this is what I should be doing.
Those are collections as well, not just into individual things.
Yeah, you got a lot to catch up on, but no,
it's ridiculous
with no like trips to go on. I mean, how are you going to do this?
No, I'm seriously considering just ditching podcasts for a while and plowing through this stuff.
Yeah, well, I've say my podcast consumption ever since the the election of Joe Biden, thinking like I don't actually care about the New York Times Daily anymore.
Yeah. Oh God. Well, actually, the Daily's still pretty good, but
it's still good. But
I've stopped watching as much news, and it's better for it.
It's kind of nice, actually. This world we live in now. Also, Arthur Darvill returns to the Lone Centurion. Volume 1 of that is coming out in April as well. So a whole host of Big Finish stuff. They have like a release announcement a day because they churn out stuff and they're very productive and they're very good at it. So links in the show notes for all the details on all of those. So back in, I don't know what year it was, May 2017, there was a book about Douglas Camfield called Directed by Douglas Camfield that came out. And now there is a special hardback version of it, limited to 300 copies only, each individually numbered, signed by the author and artist, available from Phantom Publishing. I don't remember, maybe I do remember when this book came out. It was like 4 years ago almost now. But I don't have it. Yeah.
No.
But it's coming up. So links in the show notes if you want to have a look at the way to get a hard copy version of it. Fury. Oh, we should talk about some DVD stuff because the Blu-ray sets for season 8 and 24 are still not available on Amazon.com in the United States of America. They are on Amazon.ca. I don't know about like Who Shop or any other retailers or stuff like that, but the Amazon's sort of our go-to because oftentimes listings will appear on Amazon before anywhere else. So I do find it kind of odd that the U.S. Amazon sites still don't have those 2 Blu-ray sets, which, I always get worried about because if they're not on the U.S. ones, well, I don't think Canada's getting an exclusive release or anything like that. So when are our versions of the Blu-ray sets going to be pushed back to 2024 or something like that? So there's the update there. But Fury from the Deep coming to DVD at long last on March 16th in the U.S. and in Canada. This is confirmed. Correct, Chris?
Yep.
From TV shows on DVD?
Yep.
Good. So that's the thing that happened.
No, I'm just going to head over to Amazon and double check that it still says March 16th for for my order for Fury.
Yeah. So, sometimes I open up like tracking pages like even though I know it's not going to happen for months, just to say there it is. Don't surprise me with saying, it's actually coming in a decade. You don't have to wait that long. I finally watched the Faceless Ones, the animated version of the Faceless Ones.
It's nuts.
I know, while I was building a Lego set on my birthday, I found, you know what? It's been sitting there. Why haven't I watched this? I'm an idiot. So I watched it. It was great. It was excellent.
It's very prisonery, if I'm thinking of the right story.
I think you're thinking of Mac or Terror, actually. But
No, I'm not. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I'm not. Maybe, I don't know.
It blends together into one animated thing.
I suppose. So I promise not to wait as long as I waited to watch The Faceless Ones when Fury from the Deep comes out. All right? So March 16th is when it's coming out. Just over a month. We can do it. And lastly, in the news, Grant Imahara, who of course was on Mythbusters and a big Doctor Who fan, and appeared at a few times at Gallifrey One. He passed away sadly last year. But there has been a drive to name the study lounge at USC after him, the Grant Imahara Memorial Study Lounge. Excuse me. There's a fundraiser. There's 21 days left. They are 89% of the way towards securing their goal of renaming the study lounge in honor of Grant Imahara. I did not meet him, but he was just from literally everyone who I've talked to who has met him, just like he was just such a wonderful person, and we lost him far too early. So I think this is a great way to honor his legacy. So links in the show notes if you wish to contribute to this worthy cause. And with that, we bring on Benji and Nick to play
Trivia, Mr. Fibuli. Trivia. Trivia, Mr. Fibuli. Trivia.
It's a Trivial Pursuit question. I used to memorize Trivial Pursuit questions so I could win.
Trivia, Mr. Fibuli. Trivia.
You know, I've got to tell you, I won't be needing you in my quiz team.
Trivia, Mr. Fibuli. Trivia.
I can't believe our lives depend on some stupid pub quiz.
Yes, it's Trivia, Mr. Fibuli, everyone. Radio Free Skaro's favorite game show. That is to say, our only game show. And joining us this time around, special guests from the Benji and Nick Show. It's Benji and Nick. Benji, Clifford, Nick, Briggs. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Hello. It'd be funny if it was two completely different people, wouldn't it? If it was from the Benji and Nick Show, it's Graham and John. I don't know who they are, but maybe you'll have to get them on next time.
Yeah, the backup. The Coin Vance to go for a deep dive Dukes of Hazzard reference. I'm sure that everyone gets for a show.
I didn't get that.
No, that's all right. That's
all I know about the Dukes of Hazzard is they put it on in the Doctor Who slot when Doctor Who wasn't on. It used to upset me.
Did they really? Oh, I that was my first love as a child was the Dukes of Hazzard. Before Doctor Who arrived in my life, it was Dukes of Hazzard. Yeah, I know. Good thing there was no Confederate flag in Doctor Who, as there was on the top of the car. Dukes of Hazzard. But that's another story. So the Benji and Nick Show, which started, I want to say, 2018? But you two have been like on the Big Finish podcast for longer than that. So how did you decide to go, hey, let's start our own podcast?
I think it was my idea, wasn't it, Benji?
It was your idea, and I think it came from the fact that because me and Nick we linked up via the Big Finish podcast, and we realised very quickly into my time on that podcast that we just enjoyed talking about loads of random things, and these tangents started turning up, didn't they? About all kinds, mainly Catweasel and war films. Aye, Buddha. Buddha's in magic. And we started talking about all these old shows and stuff, and then we realised that we're probably just irritating everybody who actually wanted to listen to the Big Finish news. So Nick thought, well, why don't we do our own thing? And now every week it's a part of our week. It's a huge joy, isn't it? We just sit and it's like a virtual pub, really. We just sit and talk about all kinds of lovely old things.
Yeah. And of course now we have Shelley Dean joins us for the review section, and that's giving us a really brilliant US perspective, isn't it, Benji?
It absolutely changes things up, because whereas before we were, it had quite a niche talking about old UK telly. Now, not only do we have to put Shelley through her paces, to watch this old, really obscure UK stuff. But also, she's putting us through our paces with US things as well. Like Land of the Lost, I think, was the last one we had from the US.
Wow,
which,
gosh, yes.
Yeah, it was a whole different experience.
It suddenly made us realise how she felt watching our nonsense.
Absolutely. It was a complete eye-opener. But it's great fun. Absolutely great fun.
So it's always like archive television. And you throw like some Doctor Who in there as well. Like
Definitely.
Like
we
you're
do
in the
Doctor Who commentaries. Yeah.
Yes. All of them Death to the Daleks.
That's what I want to do. Every week, just do episode 2 of Death to the Daleks.
We have, the funniest thing is we have suggested that we just do another one on Death to the Daleks because we want to. We've covered the Dalek films twice, actually, haven't we? Now, well, we did them both, and then again for some reason.
Well, we did them both in one, and then after Shelley had seen the original TV shows that they were based on, then we did them separately, didn't we? The 2 films, because it was a new perspective. And we'll be doing them again next week.
We're going to be watching them underwater to see a new perspective. But we love it. You know, we did a commentary on the Sontaran experiment, which is just great. You know, it's things like that. I think the fact is that we just, for us, it's like such a treat to be able to just be like, what are we doing this week? Doctor Who. Well, that's what we'd be doing anyway. So even better.
Yeah. Exactly. And that Sontaran experiment one, for example, was for our Patreons. Or patrons, you call them, don't you? On Patreon.
So. Yes.
Yeah. So that, you know, we do a lot of extra content like recipes, TV dinners, things that we make, you know, while we're watching television, or not while we're watching television, but just, I don't know why we do the recipes. But anyway, yeah, we do extra commentaries and also after party stuff and videos, and you know, so there's a lot going on for people who want to follow us on Patreon. If you just go to patreon.com and type in the Benji and Nick Show, I think that's pretty much it. And then you can, there are various tiers based on our Loch Ness game, which we play at the beginning of every podcast. Have you heard that, Stephen?
I've heard it. It's very clever. I keep thinking you're doing like a scripted bit, and then you're not.
It's not scripted.
There's nothing scripted about us. I don't think we can get it together.
How would we describe how do you describe the Loch Ness game, Benji?
Well, why don't we do it now?
Okay,
so what we and Nick do is we exchange rapid goods at each other, and you'll see how it goes. And the person to hesitate first or to get it wrong loses and has to surrender the words goodness for then the other person to exclaim Loch Ness. It's very simple. So, good morning.
Good day.
Good evening.
Good afternoon.
Good sir night.
Good night.
Good to be here.
Good desk.
Good. Oh, damn. Goodness.
Loch Ness. Thank you.
There we go. And that's it.
It's not a game, and it's not about Loch Ness.
But it's called that.
Precisely. We don't know either. We don't really even know how it sort of came to be, only that it does.
I don't know. We don't know how it happens. I think we were saying Benji has a beautiful habit of, if you say something, he'll just say something else that rhymes with it. And at some point, someone said goodness. One of us. I suppose it must have been me. And he just said Loch Ness. Not Loch Ness, but Loch Ness. Mm-hmm. It's like things that like Batman. Can't be Batman. It has to be Batman. Cyberman.
Spiderman.
I knew a Jeff Spiderman. Actually, no, I didn't. But
Jeff Spiderman.
Jeff Spiderman here.
Yeah.
Love it.
Thanks, Jeff.
Well, that's fab. Where can you find the podcast?
Everywhere.
Absolutely everywhere. Yeah, you can find it on SoundCloud, Spotify,
YouTube.
YouTube, iTunes podcast, if it's still called that. That's how Apple Podcast, that's the one. Thank you.
It's distributed by Libsyn, so it's on all the podcast providers.
Yes.
Yeah.
As a redone as well. So that's fabulous. It's a fun show. I must say though, I've been holding this back for a couple of years. You did review the tripods. Yeah. Because Benji suggested it, and Nick, you had a very unfavorable reaction to it, and I was very broken up by that. So.
Do you think it was good then?
I think it was. Well, listen, for a 14-year-old, I thought it was fantastic.
That's the key, isn't it? Because, of course, I was in my 20s. when I saw it. And also it was in the Doctor Who slot, like the Dukes of Hazzard. You know,
Right.
just find programs that they put in the Doctor Who slot really annoying because they weren't Doctor Who. And this was like pretending to be Doctor Who because it was sort of sci-fi.
It
You know,
was.
and all it was some fairly, for the time, above average effects, but the acting and the writing, the pace was so leaden. They made a real mistake trying to... See, I'm just doing it. I'm just trashing it again. I really hate it. I want to love it because Benji loves it so much, and I don't want to upset Benji. But you know, sometimes the truth
it's one of
has
those
to be
things.
told.
I can completely see where you come from on that, Nick. However, what I would say, and it's obviously, this is the type of thing that this is the case, is that the acting actually does get better throughout the first series, the run of the first series. But then, of course, the argument is that should there be a program where the acting starts off not as good as how it finishes? You know, that's the crux of it.
And the
But I love
difference
it.
is so minuscule that you don't really notice. It's still fairly bad at the end.
Oh, I don't know about
I love it to bits, and I'm so sad that they never finished it with series 3.
God, we couldn't have put up with that, could we?
Oh, it's
Has
still
it all
rankles.
been for nothing?
Oh God, you're hurting me all over again, Benji.
Well, I would love, you know, like Big Finish to get the rights for it, but Disney have got the rights to the tripod, so no one's going to get that.
That's unfortunate. They're not going to do anything with it.
No,
Come on.
no.
They've been saying they're going to for years, but they're not. Let's be honest. I don't think a big screen remake of the tripods is really going to, you know, be a first priority now that Disney owns Star Wars.
Exactly. I mean, and tripods as well. It does sound like it's a store that sells cameras, doesn't it? You know.
Well, that's because it is. That's a huge plot point.
It is massive.
That, you know.
If you watch the whole series, Nick, you would understand this.
Oh, yeah,
Absolutely, yeah.
Also, the fact that, you know, if they did do it, then the Royal Mint would be forced to release a coin with a four-legged tripod. Have you heard this scandal? To celebrate H.G. Wells, the Royal Mint, you know, press our coins, has done a special coin. Is it a £2 coin with H.G. Wells imagery on it? And they've got a tripod from War of the Worlds with 4 legs, and the Invisible Man represented by the clothes of someone in a top hat, and the Invisible Man never wore a top hat. And round the edge of the coin is a quotation, allegedly from H.G. Wells, which is something that he never said. So, I mean, it's an utter disaster, and I don't know how they've got away with it. They're idiots.
I'm wondering if perhaps whoever designed the coins and stuff for the Royal Mint also designed the 5-sided TARDIS console for Daypole back in the 1980s.
I think it's the same person, yeah.
Has a history of just completely messing
Getting
up.
everything
iconic-
wrong.
Everything wrong.
As
Pretty sure there's
Benji and
5
I
sides.
said, how many meetings did they have to go through? The Royal Mint is a big deal. How many meetings did they have to go through where people were mentioning the word tripod and no one said 1, 2, 3, 4? Hold on, that can't be a tripod, can it? Because that's 4 legs. Oh, I'm so cross.
It's beggars belief, isn't it? Beggars belief.
It does. Well,
So yes, join us on the Benji and Nick Show for more of this nonsense.
Just angry men shouting about really trivial things.
Actually, I brought that up on the Big Finish podcast, didn't I? That was our point of discussion.
Join us on there as well. Join us for
the
a double
Big Finish
whammy.
podcast. All the same sort of places, probably. And at bigfinish.com, of course.
of course. Well, it's put you both in fine metal, I think, for this trivia game. It's Doctor Who Trivial Pursuit.
Yes.
For those here's how the rules go basically.
Okay.
I will ask Benji a question. If he gets it right, I'll ask him another one. If he gets that right, I'll ask him a third question. If he gets that right, then the round for him is over, and then I'll move on to Nick. Or Benji can get one wrong, and I go on to Nick as well. And I'll keep score basically throughout the course of this.
Yes.
And at the end of however long, usually we go 7 rounds basically. I will determine the winner. The final round is unlimited. So if one of you is completely clocking the other in the scoreboard, you can catch up by having an unlimited number of questions being answered. So
Wow.
So
It
we'll
sounds
see how
like
you
it
do.
could go on all night.
Well, it won't, because I have an arbitrary end date and time in my head.
Okay,
End
good.
date.
All right.
With the it might go
5
2
years
days.
time.
The
might be-
27th of November, 2056.
Which is still shorter than the longest test match in cricket history, but we'll get there. So there are 6 categories. I have a die
Okay.
here with 6 sides on it, and the categories are this: Time Lords, Companions, Episodes and Stories, Years and Dates, Monsters, and Cast, Crew, and Beyond. There you go. All right. So we're going to start with Benji. Benji, are you ready for your first question?
I'm ready as I'll ever be.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to roll the dice.
By the way, I should mention I don't like games.
Well, good
I'm,
luck,
I'm,
Nick.
I know that Nick will thrash me, but I'm going to have some fun
Listen,
whilst I'm being
I've done
thrashed.
the plug. I'm going now.
Yeah. Benji wins by acclamation. Okay, green is the
Exactly.
color. Is monsters. Benji, green is monsters. Here we
Ooh,
go.
Okay.
Green Woputs.
The question: how many limbs do the spider-like Rachnos have?
Well, it's 8, surely. Rachnos, spiders,
I would have
8.
thought so, yeah.
It's actually.
Well, I can
10.
imagine it being 12. 10?
It's actually
What?
10. It's actually 10. Yep.
Was it designed
Hold
by
on,
the
was
same...
this the same
yeah.
guy?
It
He
might-
gets
Oh,
everywhere,
fuck.
this guy who puts extra legs on things.
Surely, how can you be the queen of the spiders? Well, not queen of that's a whole other character, but a crazy spider lady and have more legs than a spider. They should rebel against her. She's not one of them. She's a liar.
All praise
Well,
the great one.
I'll praise the great one, which is not Benji.
praise
You got
the
this one
great
wrong.
one.
So, Nick, it's over to you. It's over
Okay.
to you. Here we go. Are you ready, Nick?
Yes, never. I mean, yes.
You get the color of blue, which is Time Lords.
Oh, God.
Here's the question. What sound implanted by the Time Lords is the master constantly tormented by?
Well, the sound of drums.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well done.
Da-da-da-da.
You will notice
Da-da-da-da.
that some of these questions will be easier and more sensible than others. So
Some of
best
them just
luck.
your opinion.
And some of them are just my opinion.
That's what I used to do. We used to do a game every year in the Big Finish Christmas podcast called My Shelf. And a lot of the answers were just my opinion. It's like, is episode 7 of so-and-so any cop? You know? And people used to get very upset about that. Anyway.
No,
Okay.
that's pretty much what Liz Miles does on the Verity podcast whenever she hosts a game show too. So
I can imagine that of Liz, yes.
it does. All right. The category is pink, which is companions. Who was the MP for Flydale North?
Oh,
MP.
yeah. I can't remember.
No, nothing.
That's a from me.
No, that's Harriet.
Harriet Jones.
Harriet Jones
Oh,
is the
of
correct answer.
MP
Well
for
done.
Flydale North.
I'm not very good on anything to do with the new series.
You mean the one you're in? Yes, that's right.
Yeah, exactly. It's a job, you see.
Who voiced the Daleks? Oh God, I've seen his
this.
face. I see his face every day.
Well, all right. That's easily the least successful first round we've had in this short history of this game show. So well done, gentlemen. Back to you, Benji, for the question, which is orange, which is cast, crew, and beyond. Here it is.
Oh, here we go.
Which actor links The Curse of the Black Spot with TV shows Downton Abbey and 2012?
Oh gosh. You're asking the wrong person because I just don't. Nick might know this one because he's really good
I know.
with actors' names. I won't have a clue. So
It's
I will.
oh God, what is his name? Hugh Bonneville.
Nick is correct, even though he gets no points for that question.
Oh,
But
damn.
Yes, but that's how that works. Well, we might go
You could
longer
give
than
Benji
7
that
rounds at
point.
this point.
Can you just pretend it was Benji who said it?
You may regret that later on in this game, Nick. So I'm going to say no on that one.
Okay, all right. You're labouring under the misconception that I'm taking this seriously.
Listen, there are rules to this, all right? There's a spreadsheet with previous games. There's a trophy to be minted, not by the Royal Mint, but someone actually reputable. So
yes, someone actually reputable, not the Royal Mint, who are a bunch of clowns.
Exactly. Right, back to you, Nick. Here we go.
Okay. You ready to answer this, Benji?
the category.
Yeah, we just answer each other's. That's how this works.
Perfectly
now.
fine.
Chaos. Yes.
Chaos. Like Eddie, it is pink. It is companions again. Here it is.
Okay, right.
The Doctor first meets Kate Stewart when Earth is invaded by millions of small cubes.
Yes.
But what alien race is behind the invasion?
Oh, a really annoying actor who wouldn't say any of the lines or something. Yeah, there's some terrible story.
Yeah,
Stephen.
that's correct.
But I wouldn't know the name. I feel awful because Chris Chibnall, I can almost see his house from here, and he wrote it, but I can't remember what they were called.
No, they're called the Shakri.
See, that doesn't even ring a bell. What was his name? Stephen
Burkoff.
Burkoff. Yeah, I even went to see.
Oh, Stephen Burkoff. We've watched him eat a meal, haven't we, Nick?
Yes, we did at a convention. Yeah, in that rather lonely celebrity with no one worshipping him sort of way. Yeah,
he was just sort of sitting, having a meal on his own, and I was sitting there, just thinking to myself, it's the man from Octopussy having dinner. That's as far as he goes.
I saw him in a show in the West End back.
Was it Octopussy on ice?
back in the 80s. It was called Decadence that he'd written, and it was very, very offensive and full of lots of foul language. And of course, I found it very boring and fell asleep during it. And that's not an exaggeration. I absolutely, genuinely nodded off, which he'll be appalled to hear. And but people walked out a lot during the show because it was so offensive, And when people walked out, he broke away from the play and screamed abuse at them. So, "Oh, Mr. Boss, have you?" He would say, and things like that. Yeah.
I love the way you had the complete opposite reaction there. Whereas some people are so offended by this play that they're walking out, whereas Nick just slept through it.
Yes, I nodded off in the middle because, when you've heard four-letter words repeatedly shouted, the shock value disappears, really. That's what I tell my wife every morning.
Wow.
You'll get used to it.
I must get Stephen Burkoff on here for a rebuttal podcast.
Good luck with that.
Benji, it's back over to you.
We may not be playing the game well, but I think we're providing value for money.
The category is cast, crew, and beyond, Benji. Here it is.
Oh, no, not another one. Okay.
Which famous astronaut's one small step speech did the 11th Doctor interrupt to sabotage the Silence's plans to dominate Earth?
Oh, you've got to know that.
Isn't that Neil Armstrong?
It's Neil Armstrong.
Yeah.
Oh, thank goodness. I know something.
Yeah.
I know something.
I mean, it is something that everyone knows, though.
Can you imagine if I just said Buzz Aldrin?
Buzz Aldrin. He's the one that said something, wasn't it? Or was
Captain
it
Zep.
The one that stayed inside the spaceship.
Yes.
Michael Collins, wasn't it?
Michael Collins, yep.
Yeah.
But see, you knew all three people who were on the Apollo 11 mission. That's worthy of something, isn't it?
Crikey, surely a bonus point.
This is the NASA podcast, isn't it?
It is.
That's what we thought we were coming for.
Is Kevin Parker coming on? Anyway,
Kevin Costner?
No, sadly, him and Stephen Burkoff are working on a new show, I think, for Amazon Prime.
Having dinner.
Yeah, we've got a pink again for you, Benji, which is Companions.
Oh,
Companions, if you haven't been able to gather, given that Harriet Jones is mentioned in this, is a very wide-ranging category of perhaps people that Doctor Who has known throughout their lives. So
people with someone he walked past at a bus stop somewhere.
Exactly.
That counts, does it?
Yes. Yeah. Or whoever or watched eating a meal alone at a convention. That's
I bet a lot of people have seen me eating meals alone at conventions as well.
Like,
so, what a sad so-and-so he is. Yeah.
Just eating his sandwich. Oh, nonsense.
I'd have been texting Benji at the time, of course.
Yeah. The question is, Benji, here it is. Which historical queen ends up joining John Riddell on his hunts on the African plains?
Oh, God, now that is a question.
Another Chibnall written episode.
She was a looker.
Oh, it's a tough one, isn't it? It's got to be one of the Elizabeths, surely.
No, way off.
Well, Elizabeth I wasn't a looker.
No, do you remember the episode?
She had a whole. I don't remember it at all.
Oh, it's one of my favourite episodes, actually.
Oh wait, what? This is terrible. What series was it? Was it
Matt Smith? Doctor.
I do remember it because they end up having a really jolly old time.
It's in
Christmas special.
It's on a spaceship.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but I can picture the actress who played the part.
I think you're thinking of something else.
I think you are.
I don't know the answer, but I know it was in Dinosaurs on a Spaceship.
Nick's got that correct. Yep.
And it's not Queen Nefertiti, was it? But it was
Queen.
Goodness, yes.
It was Queen Nefertiti.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh God, I thought I got that from Carry On Screaming.
No.
Nefertiti.
Well.
I was thinking of like English queens.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was for about 2 seconds, and then that
was getting me. Yeah,
but then the Riddell business. Yeah.
That completely. Yeah, fair enough. I can see it.
Is this the longest this game's ever taken because of all the interruptions?
Well, I mean, it's the longest game length, to score ratio I think we probably had. But it's at least it's even. It's 1-1 a piece.
Is it really? I lost track of that.
It's
Let me
riveting.
just write something. I must write that down. Just write it in my special notebook
in your copybook now. Nick, it's your turn now. So I'm going
one.
To
and what was the other one? One and what?
What and one is
one
apiece. Yeah, which also
hold on, just getting that down.
All right, good.
You put a dash in the middle; it will look a little bit like a TIE fighter.
Oh, it will actually. Yeah, that's the one.
Hold on, I still haven't written it all down.
Okay, got it.
Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a 2-pager, isn't it?
Yeah. How many E's in one?
1 E.
Right.
Sorry, I'm just messing around with sound effects now.
That's right.
Okay.
Are you ready for your question, Nick?
Okay, I just put my hat on.
Here it is. The category is cast, crew, and beyond.
Okay. What colour is that?
You could do this. You could do this
orange.
one.
It's orange, actually, is what it is.
Orange.
Donald Trump.
Orange.
Orange. Which British comic starred as the Absorbaloff in Love and Monsters?
Yes. Well, I can see him. He's outside the window here. What's his name?
He's outside the window.
Northern Block.
Yeah, I know him.
Block.
I can't remember his name. Isn't that awful? Let me just think.
Right.
Is this the way to Amarillo?
Yeah, I know exactly who it is. Just can't remember his name. Sorry.
His name
is
Peter Kay.
Yeah, of course it is.
Peter Kay.
La 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 la.
I only know him from Doctor Who. Yeah, but
I watched that episode again recently. I really enjoyed it. And then I found out, someone told me that it's sort of well known as an episode that people think jumped the shark a bit and thought it was terrible. And I thought, are you kidding me? It's great.
It's one of those ones, I think, that the haters really like to hate it, but then it's also got quite a fierce community of people willing to defend it quite strongly.
Yes, I never realised. Why would you hate? I think people don't like the paving stone joke at the end, do they? I think that's what people object to mostly. And I can see why. Anyway, sorry.
That's right. No, I think a lot of people pre-hated that, knowing that there was going to be no Doctor in it for the most part. And I thought, this is going to be terrible. Let's settle down and look. I remember Tachyon TV actually did a live commentary of it, having not seen it, expecting it to be terrible. And then by the end of it, they thought this is actually really good.
Yeah,
and I feel a lot of people had that same reaction back.
But I think also older English fans, or British fans, I should say, possibly like it because we're kind of used to the idea of Doctor Light episodes because there were a lot of those back in the day. You know, it's only a modern Doctor Who thing that the Doctor seems to have to be in it all the time, isn't it? When you think about it.
Are you thinking about you fondly remember episodes 3 and 4, the Keys of Baroness, because William Hartnell wasn't in it?
That sort of thing. But also, if you just rewatch some John Pertwee episodes, sometimes the Doctor's only in it for about sometimes just half the time. I know someone did a joke edit of the Silurians in which because there's so much without the Doctor in it, and they did it and they edited the Doctor out entirely, and the story still sort of makes sense in some form. They just keep talking about this mysterious Doctor who never turns up.
I should like to see that on the Series 7 Blu-ray. Yeah. Well, we're back around. We're round 4, believe it or not. Round 4 of this.
Goodness, yeah.
We go back around to Benji.
Is it really round 3, but the Royal Mint are running this, so it's round 4?
Exactly, yes. Round 3, part 2. Benji, the category is Time Lords.
Okay.
The question is this. Which old ally was the 7th Doctor reunited with when he fought Morgaine and the Destroyer of Worlds?
Which old ally? Well, the Doctor is Merlin, or so they wanted us to know. Mm-hmm. Old ally. This is the Brigadier. What am I talking about?
There we go.
The Brigadier.
I was just thinking which was.
I was thinking old as in I was thinking old as in the mythology behind the whole story of Battlefield. And I was like, hold on a minute, no, it's just the Brigadier's in it.
And also because it's the Time Lord category, I was expecting the answer had to be a Time Lord, but yeah, obviously it's the Brigadier.
The 7th Doctor is the Time Lord, I guess, that they mentioned in this. Is that?
Well, that could be any Doctor Who question then. If that's go on.
Right. I know.
Like
I said, sometimes the questions do not make sense.
I forgot that bit. Yes, sorry.
Yeah, that's very important to remember from this time. Okay.
And your word is law. That's the other thing.
That too. That as well. Listen, Trivial Pursuit was invented in Canada, so I am...
Oh, really?
Yes, it was. Yes, back in 1979, I believe. When they finally came
I presume they've corrected the error where the answer to the question, who invented Doctor Who, it says Terry Nation, didn't it?
No, but I know that Sidney Newman actually tried to take him to court and they threw it out, I think is how it works. I think Graham Burke would have a more detailed answer to that. But I think there was...
they wouldn't let him in. They said, you didn't invent Doctor Who. You can't come in.
Get out.
Well, arguably he didn't, but Terry Nation certainly didn't.
Not a chance, yeah.
Although he sort of did, because, when you get to that first episode of the Daleks, that is the Doctor Who that survived and that every other Doctor Who story in some way or another has imitated, I think.
Yeah.
And if you listen to if you watch most of Terry Nation's stories, you find that they all imitate the exact same story as well. almost exactly in every way.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you've got a winning formula.
That's true. Winning formula. Go back to base, come out again, realise you've got to go back again, blow something up. Yeah.
Doctor, we've got to go back.
Oh, not again. We've just gone back once before. Keep the taxi running. He'll just tell them to go back again.
We've got to go underground and force that door. Anyway, sorry, do carry on.
Your question is Cast Room Beyond, Nick. Benji, rather. Benji.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
That's right.
Getting us confused, Benji and Nick.
I know, I am. You both look alike as well. Here's the question, Benji. Which ex-James Bond played Lord President of Gallifrey in The End of Time? This is multiple choice. You have a multiple choice question.
It's Timothy Dalton.
Yes, but I have to read this out. It's Sean Connery, Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton, or Pierce Brosnan.
Say Roger Moore.
I wish it was Roger Moore. Can you imagine? Hello there, my name. I can't do Roger Moore. I can do Roger Moore, but I'm laughing now, so I can't do it properly.
That's right.
Yes,
I remember having to ring up Roger Moore's agent to see if he was going to be the next Doctor Who.
Really?
Yeah. When I worked at Starburst magazine, they said they'd heard a rumour in the press, and so because I was the junior member of staff, they forced me to phone. So I had to speak. So I got through to Roger Moore's agent. I said, "Hello, it's Starburst magazine here. Is there any truth in the rumour that Roger Moore is considering playing Doctor Who?" And the agent just went, "Ha ha ha." He just laughed. That was it, really. Yeah.
That was your experience with it. Wow.
Yeah. I also got phoned up by Michael Winner as well when I worked on that magazine.
Really?
He wasn't admitting to be Michael Winner, but we'd run an interview with him in the magazine. This person said, "Hello, I'm phoning from Michael Winner's office." I said, "Yeah, I think that's Michael Winner." "I wonder whether I could have 5 free copies of the latest edition of Film Review." So we sent them anyway. Came out of my wages, of course.
Listen, Roger Moore's agent didn't say no. So
It's true, he laughed, so it still could be true.
could be true.
Perhaps he played
Even
the
though
doctor's
he's
shoes
dead.
or something, like a shot of his legs, and it was actually Roger in great flares. I don't know. Who knows?
Might have been. I think it was actually him and turning over in the Colin Baker wig at the beginning of Time of the Wrong.
That was-
But,
That's
that must have
correct.
been him.
yeah.
That is actually a new fact.
new fact. Or he's the one who gets. I think he's briefly seen in a frame in the hospital in the TV movie. I think before McCoy becomes McGann. I think
That's
if you
right,
Look very
yes.
closely when the Blu-ray comes out, it'll be
When the
instant.
eyebrow goes up.
Yeah, it's definitely Roger Moore. Right. Listen, you could sweep this round if you
Yeah,
answered this
come on.
question correctly. The category is monsters.
Yes.
Here it is.
He's going to sail through this.
Where does the 10th Doctor trap Sister of Mine of the family of blood?
Oh, this is a good question. Sister of Mine. Well, I mean,
Is it in the Royal Mint?
So daughter of mine was in the mirror. Sister of mine is in a scarecrow.
You were almost correct. Actually, you were right the first time because actually it's Sister of Mine in every mirror. That's the one. Yeah.
God, that's brutal. There we go. Well, never mind. What can I do? I'm a victim of my own specific nature.
That's all right.
I didn't know the answer, Benji.
Nick, who works on the show and has one question correct. Because
Yeah,
we
I
haven't
know.
had any classic Doctor Who questions for you. That's
that's
probably
true.
the problem here for
Yeah.
you. You know?
I was offered the chance to audition for a part in that story.
Really?
But it only had 3 lines. And they'd been promising me that they'd give me a big part. And so I turned the audition down, and they were massively offended. The casting people were, apparently. Yeah, but David Tennant said to me, he said, "You can't play that. You do all the big confrontation scenes. You can't." And when I read it, I thought, these 3 lines have got cutting room floor written all over them. And indeed, 2 of them were cut. And the 3rd line, the guy went to say it, and he opened his mouth, and then they cut to a shot of David Tennant, and you heard the voice over David Tennant's reaction shot. So it was probably a good idea I didn't take the part. I think also, basically it was a part for an extra, really.
Mm-hmm.
So
But you were clearly not. So it's a good thing that you turned it down, Nick.
Yeah, but I didn't get offered another one, did I? And that's my punishment for turning down.
Oh.
I thought, I might have taken it if they'd just given me the part. To go and audition for something that's virtually nothing is just bizarre, isn't it? Anyway, that's enough of my bitterness.
Well, that's all right. Listen, you were not to stroke your ego too much, but you were brilliant in Children of Earth.
Thank you very much. What was that? Sorry.
Well,
I don't know the answer to that question.
No.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
met
think
Peter Capaldi on that shoot. That was the most wonderful time I had.
Oh, that's where I first was really had my eyes open to Peter Capaldi. I was so excited at the rumors of Capaldi being Doctor Who because of that, and I hadn't even seen the thick of it at that point. But
It's one of the most impressive things I saw in my life, because Peter was very jokey and we giggled a lot and gossiped a lot about old Doctor Who and stuff, because we're similar ages, and I think he's a tiny bit older than me, but only a tiny bit. And after giggling and sitting down at the big table there, supposedly in number 10, and then watching as all that drained away, and he just became this haunted character. And something about being so close, physically close to an actor. When they transform like that, it was like being right next to an unfathomable magical trick being performed. Incredible.
Mm-hmm. He's such a great actor.
It's amazing.
And a lovely, lovely man.
Oh,
A lovely man.
I should have him on
lovely
this.
man.
I'm sure he'd love to play some Doctor Who Trivia Pursuit.
He would be quite good at it as well, actually.
Well, Nick, I've got a question for you. It's we haven't had this one yet. Years and dates is the category.
If this is for the new series, there's no chance. Yeah.
Well, you're in luck. Which year did the Flood infiltrate Bowie Base 1?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
It's I will give you a hint. It's from the story The Waters of Mars.
Is this a fictional date or an actual date?
It's a fictional date.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Now, funnily enough, I did watch part of this episode recently with my son, but he found it too terrible. To frightening. I don't mean terrible.
Very scary. Yeah.
He's such a critic at 11 years old. He just said the script editing on this is appalling. No, he didn't. And Alan, what's Alan's surname? I can't remember now. Was in it.
What's his name?
Partridge?
Alan. No. Resco. Alan Resco.
Oh, Roscoe.
Roscoe. Yeah.
Roscoe. Yeah. Alan, a lovely, lovely man who played so many monsters in masks, and they gave him a lovely part in this, and then he turned into a monster in a mask. So procrastinating. I'm going to just say 2026.
Well, you're close, but you're way off. It's 2059.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Well, it's easy to get that confused.
I know it was a big feature of the story, wasn't it? They kept repeating it as well.
I think so.
That's what I remember. I remember them mentioning the date a lot.
That's right, because they kept flashing to the future BBC News web pages in the year 2059. They looked, oddly enough, similar to the ones that they were in 2009. But
that's one of the worst things in any drama, isn't it? Fake web pages.
Yeah.
Doctor Who does it a lot, though. It does that awful thing of referencing the future in a really dated way. Especially the new series really does it a lot, I think. Sort of constantly referring to things that will automatically date itself.
Yeah, Who knew? Doctor Who referring to things in different times.
Yes, the first and only occasion that happened was in 2009.
Anyway, so disappointing.
That's all right. I'll tell you what. This will be the final. Since you're doing so well, we'll make this the final round, unlimited. So basically, what we'll do is, Benji, you're going to set the benchmark for Nick to be able to catch up and try to beat you. So you can go for as many questions as you get correct in this round.
Okay.
You ready? Here it is. Get a roll. It's the category is orange, which is your favorite cast, crew, and beyond.
Oh, for goodness sake! Okay,
orange. Did you say squirrel as well? Squirrel. Sounds like swirl, but with a squirrel.
That's exactly what it is.
It's a squirrel. Orange.
A squirrel. The question is Tim McInerney.
Oh, yeah.
Who played Halpin in Planet of the Ood.
That's all I knew.
Also starred in 2 seasons of a historical BBC sitcom. But what was it called?
A historical sitcom, you say?
Yes.
Okay.
I know.
Nick seems
2 seasons of it, and it's historical.
Yes. Yes. It's really famous.
Is it really famous? Would I know it, Nick?
You absolutely would know it.
Am I a fan of it, Nick?
Now, do you know, that's an interesting thing, because I'm not sure we've ever really spoken about it. So maybe you're not. Maybe you missed it.
Maybe, who knows? I will just say, I'll just pluck the first one that came into my head. It's probably not this. The Good Life. I don't know.
That's historical, is it?
Well, it's on BritBox, and so it's...
Yeah, it's set in 1976. It's historical.
Oh, what is in fictionally historical? Well, it's Blackadder, isn't it?
Ta-da!
It is Blackadder. Yeah.
Oh, I thought when you meant historical, I thought you meant like iconic from the BBC's past. You see?
No, set in history.
No, yeah. So it's mindful. Yeah, it's Blackadder, isn't it?
Yes, Doctor Who is a historic show. The Romans is a historical, I think, is how.
Yeah. Very good. There we go.
Yeah.
Yes, there we go.
Are we giving that to Benji, Nick? Is that
I think you should. I think you should. Well, the Good Life, that was just a glitch.
Okay, all right.
Glitch in the system, yeah.
And then it really,
we'll allow it.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Your reward is another Cast Crew and Beyond question. So, it's this: which TV quiz show does Bradley Walsh, aka Graham O'Brien, host?
The Chase.
Look at that.
As directed by Richard Martin. Correct. All right.
Spent many.
I get it. That's a good joke. Sorry.
There you go.
Who wears a cravat?
He does wear a cravat. I know. I think older gentlemen tend to wear cravats because I think their neck sort of becomes a little turkey-ish.
Yeah, I'm considering wearing one. Frankly,
I know.
Cravats always make me think of. They always make me think of sort of breakfast for some reason, like people in old films sitting in dressing gowns and smoking jackets with cravats.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I found this old film from my days. It wasn't even my days. It was my friend did a film studies course where I played some terrible Italian character, and I was wearing a cravat, and I watched that yesterday. and I look incredibly young and incredibly trim, and wearing a cravat. So there we go.
Do you think the cravat made you feel trim?
Possibly, but I think it's more of a case of beer made me not feel trim as years go by.
I feel a little tear trickling down Benji's face.
You know, could be worse, but
Remembrance.
we all make sacrifices, you know, for things we love.
Beer.
Yeah. Cast and crew questions is what I love. So let's.
You've lucked out. You get a monsters one now.
Yes. This is right up his Straza.
Well, we'll see. Here it is. Which part of Dorian Maldavar is placed in a box in the labyrinth of skulls?
Well, we can't say that. It's rude, isn't it? No, it's his it's his head.
It's his head.
Even I knew that.
Head in a box. Yep. Well done. Look at that. 3. You can still keep going. I feel that you might be opening up a wider lead than Nick can possibly maintain.
Definitely.
I'll lose the next one, so it's fine. It's fine.
Well, it's back to cast and crew and beyond, so you might well just.
Is this orange?
Orange. It's orange. Which model portrayed the siren in The Curse of the Black Spot?
Oh, Lily something. Lily the pink. No. Lily. Is it Lily Cole? Is that her name?
That's Lily Cole. Yes.
Oh, brilliant! Wow, there we go.
Was she a model? I thought she was full size. She was built by Matt Irvine. She was a good friend of Boris the Spider.
He could work wonders. And the Burqa, oddly enough.
Yeah, definitely.
Gosh.
And the spaceship in The Invisible Enemy.
Right, Benji, you get another one. It's Time Lords. On what planet would you find the untempered schism?
Gallifrey?
You're on a roll now. Look at this.
That's a good guess for the Time Lord. I didn't know that. What episode was that in?
It was probably in the Sound of Drums, Last of the Time Lords.
Yeah.
Right.
I know.
I don't think I'm a Doctor Who fan, I've discovered with this quiz. I thought I
real
knew a lot
point
about
of this
Doctor
game.
Who.
Nope. This is the real point of this game right here, is to just establish your credentials or lack thereof.
Yeah, I rely on other people to know these things.
Yep. Benji, companions is the category. Here's the question: what does Amy draw on the hand bot that she captures and disarms when she is trapped on Apalapuchia?
That's a great episode as well. The girl.
That is a fantastic episode, isn't it?
The girl who waited. Yeah, I've watched that so many times.
Oh man.
Is it genitalia? Sorry.
Yeah, it must be. It must be that. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's got to be something linked to all of it. So I guess I'll say a police box or something, the TARDIS, but it probably isn't that.
No, it's Rory's face.
Yeah, it's a face, isn't it? I didn't know whether it was Rory.
It's just a smiley face, though. Really, it's kind of like basically.
I mean, if I'd said face, would have got me a point with it?
The clock face.
Well. Since we're feeling pity for you and you're trailing 8-1, Nick, yes, it might.
It would have done, but I know it's not my go. I'm just
but it is now. Benji has set the barrier to 8. You have to get 8 questions right in a row, Nick.
This is going to be so easy.
It's not impossible. Nick, come on! If I managed it, then quite frankly, you could walk it.
Wow! And not if they're all new series questions.
Well,
they are.
The category is Time Lords.
Yeah.
The question's this.
The Master. No, go on, sorry.
What is Jackson Lake's profession before he begins to think he is the Doctor?
Again, I just watched this the other day. Is he a lawyer?
No, he's a school teacher. I didn't remember that he was a school teacher either.
Yeah. I just watched it the other day again.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's a very fun story, that
I was facing in the wrong direction, clearly, but anyway. Right.
Well, I'm sorry, Nick, you failed in that attempt, but you did get the very first question of the game right, and none since. So congratulations, Benji, though, on your towering achievement
of
winning this edition of trivia, Mr. Fibuli, as I forget the name of the game show.
I feel the interesting thing about this game is that we seem to have, we get each other's questions right. It's just, I suppose that's the way questions go, isn't it? We know the ones that the others get wrong. It's just the way it is,
Well, I must say, I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Great fun. Great fun.
I don't really have a competitive bone in my body, you see.
No.
Have you ever seen a British game show called House of Games?
No, I haven't.
They have lots of different games on it with, what's his name? Richard Whatsit from...
Osman?
Yes, Richard Osman. Well done. And he just... And what really makes it is his personality. But anyway, Steph, my wife, she always gets one of the answers and I get the other one when you have to smash two answers together. She said, but we'd have to go on and be just like a team rather than just one person.
Perhaps that's why you and Benji get each other's questions right, because you are also a fine team.
Hey,
in the podcasting world, of course.
Wow.
Big Finish
Have you
podcast.
got a script there?
No, I don't. That is just a natural segue after doing podcasts for 14 and a half years.
Sorry to ruin it. Sorry.
That's
Carry
right.
on. It was a thing of beauty and I spoiled it.
It was in there, but that's fine. You ruined it like you do everything. Where again can the people find the Benji and Nick Show?
Everywhere. SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple
Is there a
Podcasts.
website? Is there a website or anything like that?
Benji
Or
and
is
Nick
it
Show. Yeah,
different?
nicholasbriggs.com. It's on Nicholas. It's at nicholasbriggs.com as well.
You can also go Facebook, the Benji and Nick Show, or it might just be Benji and Nick. Twitter, it's definitely Benji and Nick, at Benji and Nick.
Yeah,
Superb.
just type Benji and Nick into the internet Webatron, and you will find us every week, every Sunday, a new podcast. And if you become a patron, you get loads of extra material. But surely the podcast itself will just do, won't it?
Absolutely, but don't expect us to ever get any trivia rights because it's highly unlikely.
Brush up for next time, gentlemen. All right. Thank you very much for playing Trivia, Mr. Fibuli.
I've got to tell you, I won't be needing you in my quiz team.
Trivia, Mr. Fibuli. Trivia.
Thank you, Benji and Nick. That was fun. Great chaps, both. I've obviously met Nick a few times at various conventions, and Benji was at the Chicago TARDIS 2 years ago, I think. Maybe even the year before that, too. Good chaps. Good fun. Check out the show. It's also a lot of fun. They review all sorts of different... They talked about The Third Man today. They've talked about Quatermass and The Pit and other such archive British feasts of the eye. So, yeah, it's a fun podcast. So, do check it out. That's it for this show. As I alluded to, stay tuned later in the week for, a little Gallifrey One-ish sort of thing, because you can take us away from Gallifrey One, but you can't take Gallifrey One away from us. So we'll sort of be doing a little something to celebrate the weekend that should have been, and looking forward to perhaps the weekend that will be in 2022.
As one friend put it, without Gallifrey One this year, her husband finally realized there was a Valentine's Day.
I am also in this situation. Never mind.
Suppose it's my wedding anniversary is on a Valentine's Day, and it always falls on Gallifrey One that we don't even acknowledge it. Erica and I celebrate the weekend where she arrived in Canada just under a year later. So yeah, February 14th. What's that? It's the date of the next episode of Radio Free Skaro. That's what it is, folks. All right. So
and that Love and Monsters tweet along.
Love and Monsters tweet along. So yeah, my wedding anniversary, sure, but also the next episode of Radio Free Skaro, which oddly enough led to Erica and I meeting this podcast. So therefore, it's a celebration of all of that.
Don't you guys like kind of resent the fact it's
a little bit, yeah, because we just wanted to get married on the Thursday at Gallifrey One, and it just happened to be February 14th, yeah. And we just like, oh, crap, does it have to be that date? Yeah. Anyway, we'll be back next week, obviously, with more of this podcast, Radio Free Skaro. So until then, I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
So long for now.
You've been listening to Radio Free Skaro. Find us online at radiofreescaro.com, follow us on Twitter and Tumblr at Radio Free Skaro, subscribe to us on iTunes, and donate to the show at patreon.com/Radio Free Skaro. Thank you.